Yo, hey, what's up, guys? It's me, Anchor64 with another video. Kind of been actually a long time since I made my last video, like some weeks ago. And I thought it's kind of time to make another video. My plan was to make a video about my loot, like my gearing and such, like being my warrior, like every week. But yeah, some things got in between that, and I didn't really have a lot of time to do them. I had some stuff recorded, but yeah, I kinda didn't have the time to upload it, edit it, and things like that. So yeah, that's what I'm trying to do right now, actually, since I also got some new stuff. And from my last video I made about my loot situation to this one, I actually got insane upgrades, to be honest. I'm almost best in slot. I only need a couple of pieces and I'm actually like good for this phase even, which is kind of crazy when I imagine like back then in phase 1 or phase 2, like I had very bad luck, and now it's actually getting kind of close to best in slot. And yeah, that's pretty much what I want to talk about. So similar to the other videos, kind of a chill video where I will talk about my loot. So let's actually get into it. First of all, maybe you already saw I got some new stuff already. Like you can see it on my character. I talked about getting like the breastplate on one of my first AQ40s, but now I got other best in slot pieces as well. So the first big one and probably my biggest piece I have gotten is actually the Gauntlets of Annihilation. These ones are insane. They're pretty much best in slot until the rest of the game, to be honest, until TBC releases, and they are like really good. So the other ones I used before that were the Sacrificial Gauntlets, which were the best in slot ones before that. But they were blues that didn't have any stamina, and we just used them because I had 1% crit and 1% hit. And now we got something with like pretty much double the amount of strength, some stamina, and this way 1% hit, 1% crit. So these ones you can see are actually really insane. 35 strength on your hands, like on a hand piece, is actually really insane. Kind of a funny story how I actually got him is a couple of weeks ago when we did an AQ40, we are kind of low on warriors. It kind of changed right now, but when we did raid, we were pretty low. We only had like 3 DPS warriors. We didn't have loot console set up at that time, and we just did basically an SR run. And us 3 warriors, of course, SR these hands. So what happened is, one of our warriors, who is a dwarf warrior, who's also a very good player, actually won the item, and yeah, that was kind of funny, to be honest, because I didn't even think about that he is actually a dwarf. If you don't know, if you don't play a human or orc, you don't use gauntlets pretty much, and like unless you want to test out some really specific setups. But most of the time you will use edge masters instead. And yeah, and I was kind of bummed a bit. Of course, he won it fully legitimately. But yeah, that's for example one of the problems with SR runs. If you don't control like everything, that can kind of happen. Of course, for humans, this is a way bigger upgrade. And me and the other warriors, we kind of lost the role, so that's what happened. The other warrior also, like, not related to that, but he pretty much stopped playing. And of course, the next run we did, another pair dropped. And since I was like the only DPS warrior, and we don't really like give red paladins these before warriors, and I got them. So yeah, very lucky we got 2 in a row. Also, like I think the one run after that, like not the not the next one, but the one after that one, another pair actually dropped. I think that was my last AQ. Yeah. So the last AQ40 we did, another one dropped. So we got 3 in our AQ40s. I don't know how many I did, but I would need to check. I think it's like 5 or 6 runs, and we got 3 gauntlets, which is really crazy and also kind of funny because we don't have a lot of warriors, to be honest. It was kind of this discussion to give it to a tank even. But yeah, that's one thing. Then in my last run, not really in my last run, but the one before that, I also got Conqueror leg guards. So this one is also an insane upgrade, because before that I used to use the ones from Blackwing Lair, the leg guards of Crusader, not even the PvP rank 13 ones. So even way worse than that. I used I don't know which boss it drops. I think it's one of the dragons, right? Yeah, it's this one. Firemore drops these. So I use these ones. I didn't have the rank 13 ones, and I was also thinking about buying the Titanic legs, but I would need to save a lot of gold for that, and I didn't have that, to be honest. But yeah, that was kind of my thinking. However, last run, like not last run, but the one before that, one of our rogues who was pretty much above me on prior on this item, he didn't show up, and this one dropped, and it was pretty much the second person. So yeah, I got these legs. Really lucky, to be honest. And yeah, I have some. These also are best in slot for DPS warriors until the rest of the game. They are really good. Just because of the amount of stats they give us. Especially on Alliance, where we can really use these stat sticks. And of course 1% is always nice. We can always use that. That's also kind of a problem right now. I have 11% hit. Because my rings are not... Like, I don't have better rings at the moment, which I could use. But yeah. Yeah, I have a lot of hit right now, which isn't such a big problem, to be honest. So these are the big pieces I got. I don't know if I got anything else, which I forgot. I think I talked about getting the Lava of the Great Worms. It was like kind of a long time ago, some weeks ago, which I got kind of free, to be honest. But yeah, as you can see, like my warrior is really geared out. I have pretty much almost everything, especially the really hard items to get. For example, like the gauntlets, onslaught girdle, chromatic boots are like the items which are really contested, but I have them. After that, some items that are still missing for me, like my biggest upgrades would be to get better bracers. There are ones in AQ40, the Hive Defiler guards, which I'm kind of trying to get right now. Maybe I get lucky tomorrow and they drop, because we do AQ40 tomorrow. But yeah, I don't know if I get them. I could get the Braces of Brutality, but I kind of want the DPS ones more. What else? I could use some better rings. I'm pretty much trying to do MC every reset to get Quick Strike ring, but it never drops. It's a really rare ring, and it's also contested by a lot of people. Yeah, it really doesn't want to drop anymore. So would be, I think, also one of my bigger ring upgrades. The other rings aren't really that big of an upgrade, to be honest. And of course, one other thing would be DST. Not DST, I'm thinking about TBC. I mean DFT, Dragfang Talisman, which would replace my Hand of Justice, which is like an kind of a minor upgrade, like 10-20 DPS, 10-15 DPS, I think. But still, yeah. But getting DFT, of course, it's that one is kind of impossible, especially because a lot of people in our build actually need it, and we have kind of rogues actually prior over that item compared to warriors. I could also grab what is it, Jongabar, but I have Earth Strike, and that one again is like a really minor upgrade compared to Earth Strike, so I don't really need it. One other big item I really need is, however, to get is Chromatically Tempered Sword, and that one is, yeah, that one never wants to drop. I do Blackwing Lair every reset from like the day it released, and I think I saw the sword, I think 2 or 3 times, and I know I still don't have it. Yeah, when I thought about back then, I would have just grinded rank 14, to be honest, and be done with it. But yeah, no, I'm still trying to get it, and it doesn't want to drop. I think at this point, I will have a better chance to get Imperial Demolisher from Lord Kazakh than instead of getting this, to be honest. But yeah, we'll see. Like tomorrow is another run. We do AQ and Blackwing Lair at the same time. At the same day, actually. Like one after the other. And yeah, we'll see. Maybe I get it, maybe not. I don't know. Maybe I get lucky. Could be one thing. Actually, I don't think I talked about it, but I also, of course, got Earthstrike. When I made my guide, you saw I was pretty close to getting it, to be honest. I only needed like some rep. But yeah, I grabbed it. I would recommend like every DPS, especially community DPS, to get it. Unless you want to really gamble to get Jonga Bar, but you can get, instead of that, you can get other items in AQ first, especially with some of the tier pieces, which will be our best in slot for the rest of the game. For example, the shoulders and of course the legs. Yeah, really insane pieces. But like I said, my warriors pretty much kitted out. In our guild, it is kind of easy to gear warriors because we aren't a lot. We have like a lot of rogues actually, which is kind of funny to be honest. I think it's for most guilds it's kind of the opposite, but that's kind of how our guild rolls. We got some new warriors, however, but yeah, that's pretty much my gear set that I'm using right now. Again, I'm trying to get some upgrades. I also kind of want to get more vanity items now. The thing is, which is kind of fun to be honest, which probably some people don't agree with. If you are like really close to your best in slot, or I would say, if you are like, even if you are your best in slot, some people are like they would just want to quit the game because they are done. They like there's nothing else to get from the raids. But I kind of think the opposite way. I kind of want the vanity items. So that's what I find really fun about Classic WoW. For example, you have things like, for example, Dark Edge of Insanity, just kind of vanity item. No one really uses it, besides maybe Red Paladins. But yeah, besides that, no one really uses this one. So these items are really fun to get, to be honest. Same thing, which I also currently trying to get, is Bone Reaver's Edge. But this one also never drops. I think I never saw this item. The whole time I was playing Classic WoW, I never really saw this. I think it only dropped once, to be honest. But yeah, that was a really long time ago. But who knows, maybe it will one time. Once. I kind of want to get a bit into PvP maybe. But who knows. Another really big thing, however, I got is since I'm, I would say, yeah, since we don't have a lot of warriors and I kind of also do some tanking and off-tanking, I'm kind of in a position right now where I actually like am like, I would say, the fourth or fifth or yeah, third tank sometimes if someone is out. And that gives me like the luxuriety, because we don't have a lot of warriors, to actually grab a lot of tanking gear. And my tanking gear is actually kind of insane. I think I put most of it in my bank. But last raid, for example, I got this Elementum Thread Cloak, which is really good actually. 2% dodge, 13 stamina, a lot of armor. And I got one of the best tanking rings in the game. Or I think the best tanking ring in the game, which is this one. Yeah, really insane. Of course, also have other tanking stuff. For example, I have the shields, which is really nice. I'll always use it when I'm tanking. I have this helmet, Helm of Endless Rage, which I got kind of free. Like, yeah, I almost have the full tier 1 and tier 2 set, to be honest. I think I'm only missing like one tier 2 piece. They have the full set. But yeah, I wish I had more space in my bank and such. But yeah, that's something I can't really control. Because I need to spend my gold on other stuff. But that's pretty much that. That's actually all I wanted to talk about. Kinda give you a recap about how my warrior's looking like. If anybody even cares, to be honest. I don't know. But it's always fun to talk about loot. To be honest, my tanking set is pretty nice. This is currently what I'm using as my tanking set. I think I could even replace some stuff, because I got some better tanking rings. So for example, I would probably replace one of the rings. And maybe use the tanking cloak instead. I don't know, 2% dodge is pretty nice. But yeah, you can see my tanking gear is also pretty good, I would say, even. Of course, I don't have Thunder Fury, but yeah. I even have this gun, which is like the best in slot tanking weapon in the game. But yeah, it's kind of crazy. Like, my warrior has actually a lot of really good gear. I got really lucky in AQ so far. I hope this still stays the same way. Last AQ I didn't get anything, I think. But yeah, maybe this one, some things will drop. So we can also go over some of the items I kind of want. I talked about it a bit, but actually show you some of the stuff. For example, yeah, this ring would be kind of nice. Kind of a nice upgrade, to be honest. But yeah, that's something I think it dropped last time. And actually, like, one of our tanks had it of a higher prio than me, to be honest, but they still wanted to roll for it, so I rolled with him, and I also lost, so that was kind of funny. But yeah, it is what it is. But I think if I would have won, I still would have given it to him. Because actually there's like a better ring for me even. And yeah, these are the bracers I mean I want to get. These are an insane upgrade compared to what I am using right now. Yeah, I'm using these for a very long time. I think I have these at 1 or 2 on my prior list. So yeah, I'm definitely trying to hunt these. These are really good. What else do we have? Yeah, I talked about it. This would be nice. Yeah, Uru drops stronger bar, which is also kind of an upgrade, but not really, to be honest. And funny thing is, however, like some items didn't drop yet. For example, the ancient Kiraji Ripper never dropped so far, which is kind of funny. Barb Choker, we got it I think once. And oh yeah, forgot about it. This also would be a small upgrade. One thing that is, which I realized as well, is actually having a lot of stamina gear is pretty nice, to be honest. To be honest, the problem with like DPS warriors, if you don't have rank 14 gear, is you are really squishy. And unless you are using a flask, or maybe Spirit Zanza, that can be kind of dangerous, to be honest. Because you can die very easily, especially to some bosses in AQ. Maybe if you are unlucky, you don't use your lip enough or at the right moment, and then you can easily die, for example, at Satura, the Whirlwinds, or you can die at the trash when you get knocked up. And of course, if you get knocked up, if you get fall damage, you can't really reduce that with more stamina. But what I mean by that is, for example, for Satura, just a lot of like raid AoE damage, having a lot of stamina is actually really nice. Also for some of the trash mobs, that can be also very good. For Who Run last time, I almost died. I popped another nature protection potion. If I would have had less stamina, I would have died 100%. So actually getting some stamina on my pieces is such an insane, like kind of underrated upgrade, to be honest. So yeah, getting the Barb Choker would be like not for the 4 attack power, so because the one is not really that big, but the 10 stamina is really nice, to be honest. That would be something I actually want more. Especially if I replace these, I will lose 13 stamina from these. But yeah, we'll see. I kind of maybe need another DPS set which is more focused on having more stamina. Or maybe I could just use my tanking set, who knows. But yeah, that's pretty much all. I yapped a lot, especially about things that are not that important. But yeah, I kind of wanted to make another video again, just talking about some of my gear. So if you have anything else to say, feel free to comment. And this was me. If you like these kinds of videos, feel free to like and subscribe. And I will see you on the next one. Goodbye.